Hey everybody, this is Valiant Forge. My name is Jacob Kane. Today we're going to be forging a knife. This knife I'm wanting to make is going to be a pretty small knife, something that's going to be small enough to be able to comfortably carry with yourself every single day. Shouldn't be getting in the way. So here I am hammering out this steel, this 1084 high carbon steel. I just got to thin it down to get it to closer to a size that I want the blade to be and the knife to be. Here I am starting to forge out the tip a little bit. Sometimes when hammering it, you get a cold shut where the steel wants to kind of fold over itself. So that's what I was doing. I was kind of filing that down a little bit, make sure I didn't get no cold shuts in the point there. So just hammering this out. Got the edge profiled in right there. Just trying to refine it a little bit. Looking around for my tape measure. Trying to figure out how long I want it. I'm thinking the blade, I'm shooting for about 2.5 inches or so. So here I am starting to hammer out the bevels. That's where the blade tapers to the edge. So I'm trying to get that hammered in. It's kind of hard to do sometimes, especially try to keeping everything straight, but I'm working on it. I'm getting some practice at it, and every day trying to get a little bit better at that. Still working on it though, of course. So as I'm hammering those bevels out, it makes the blade want to kind of turn, kind of like a curved sword, or a scimitar, or a saber. You can see it right there. So after every time I hammer on the bevels, I gotta hit up against the spine of the blade, try to re-straighten everything, to keep it all from getting away from me. Using the wire brush there just to knock off the scale so you can get a little bit cleaner of a finish when you're done forging it. You don't have to grind as much to get down to clean steel. Again, just working on that shape, trying to get as close as possible. I'll be able to fix any kind of imperfections and shape issues I have on the belt grinder, but I'm trying to get as good as I can, just forging it out. Something that I really like the idea of being able to do, instead of, a lot of smiths, those very, very roughly shape out their steel, if they even shape it out. A lot of guys will just cut it out of a just flat stock, kind of what I started off with, and they'll just cut out the whole shape. But I really like the idea of just being able to forge everything in. It takes a lot of practice, so I'm still trying to get the hang of it. Getting better, slowly but surely. There I am working on that handle, trying to hammer it down some. Gonna hot cut it out here. I kind of got the length that I know I want. So obviously that kind of messes up the shape of the knife, hammering on it like that. So gonna hammer on that handle some, kind of straighten it out on that tang. Try to get a decent curve to it, but not too much. Again, I'm just gonna try to refine everything. Less grinding I have to do, the better. I got my touch mark out here. Gonna stamp in the VF, my Valiant Forge logo. I'm getting it hot, kind of doing some short little tempering cycles too with it, trying to get a nice even heat. There you go, got that stamped in. And there's our knife. Hey everybody, so this is what we got so far. I went ahead and cleaned up some lines on the blade, and also the handle that I was forging out was a little bit too long, so I cut that down. I kind of redefined the shape a little bit. So what I'm going for here is just something, is a really small, everyday kind of pocket knife. So far, I think it's looking pretty good. I am going to put the edge a little bit more on the diet, and I'm also going to thin down the end of this tang here, narrow that down some. But so far it's looking good, so just got some more work to do. Once I do that, I'm going to drill the holes. I'm going to do some file work on the tang. Found out on that last knife, I really did enjoy doing that, and I felt like it really improved the looks of the knife overall. Then once I can do that, then it should be ready for heat treat at that point. So stay watching. So here we are grinding on the handle of the knife. We're trying to thin it down some. I'm using a little 1x42 belt grinder. Got it used for a real good price. Ended up having to replace the motor on it after a week or two, but put a more powerful motor on there, so it's kind of made a big difference, which is really nice. Gets work done a little bit quicker. Just gotta dunk the knife in water every now and then, so the steel starts to get hot, starts to get hard to hold on to. So you see those dark areas, those are all the low spots. So I need to grind those down. And just keep on grinding until kind of get rid of those areas. Then I'll know that I got a nice, I got it down far enough. And once I got it ground down far enough, I take it to this little disc sander. The small little one, just got a Harbor Freight. And this really does help get everything nice and flat. So that other grinder, you know, removes a lot of material, but it's in a very small area. I mean, the belt is only 1 inch wide. So you can kind of see there the scratch differences. So the 1 inch are those ones that are going, scratches going up and down. So I try to remove all of those, and then I'll know I got a nice flat surface that we'll be able to put our handle on. And now it is time to drill our holes. I went ahead and marked the holes earlier and use a center punch to punch where I want to put the holes down in for my pins. You should really use a clamp while doing this. Sometimes the drill bit does want to grab hold of that steel when you're drilling through, and can spin that knife around. You know, I don't have any kind of an edge right now, so it's not quite as big of a deal, but it's definitely something that I'm looking into and trying to figure out a good way of doing that with the tools and the material that I have on hand. As you can tell, the steel is really nice and soft for as far as steel goes anyway. So it drills the holes real easy. And here we have our knife so far. Went ahead and cleaned out the lines a little bit more. As you can see, I did some file work. Just wanted to try doing something new. Never done this kind of design before either, but really happy with how it's turning out. I think it'll look especially good when I get the handles on there. As you can see, it's a pretty small knife. Smaller handle, but so far I'm really excited about it. And here we are for the heat treat. So prior to doing this, I did some normalizing cycles, and that just refines the grain down real fine, so that'll make the knife really tough when you heat treat it. I'm sticking a magnet to it. Once that steel reaches a certain temperature, called critical temperature, it becomes non-magnetic. And this particular steel, once it reaches non-magnetic, just a few more degrees hotter, then it's ready to go. Whoops. So my tongs were a little bit too hot, and so since the tongs that were too hot was on the surface of the oil, that caused that flare up right there. Probably should be wearing a glove, which I'll do next time. Alright guys, so we got it heat treated, and I went ahead and heat treated it once more because after looking over that video, I really don't feel like I got it cooled down fast enough. So I didn't think it was going to be as hard as it should be. So I went ahead and renormalized it and reheat treated it, which I'm glad I did. Turned out really good so far. So I've done some sanding, some polishing. I got a pretty nice satin finish on it so far. Pretty happy with that. So what I'm going to do now is I need to drill the holes for my handle material. Now for my handle material, I'm deciding to use, I got this it's called Desert Ironwood. Pretty cool stuff. It's extremely hard, extremely dense wood. And then what I did is I epoxied some copper sheet liner. I bought some sheets of copper like this and cut them out, and then I epoxied them onto the back here. So both these have it. So when I put the blade on, you'll have the copper and sandwiched in between the wood and then the steel. And I think that's going to look really cool. I think it'll look real nice when we're done with that. So I gotta figure out where we're gonna put the pins for that, and then we'll get these drilled. Then I'm also wanting to do is I'm wanting to do a stone wash finish on it. So I'm gonna soak this knife in some acid, the same stuff that I soaked it in for my Damascus. So it's gonna etch, but because it is one steel and because it's 1084, it's gonna turn black or really, really dark. And then I'll be able to put a finish on it that I think will look real nice on it. It should be a real nice and rugged finish. You know, nothing super fancy, but you know, something that if it gets scuffed up, you're not gonna really care that much, or it won't look bad once it does start getting scratches on it from use and stuff. It's a real nice rugged look. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get these handles, scales, and I need to figure out where I want them on the knife. Then I'll tape them together, put my handle on top wherever I want them, and then I'm going to drill a hole in there all the way through the wood, and then I'll put one of these, make some copper pins out of this, and I'll put them in there, and then I'll drill the other one, and then that will give me my basic shape, and I can start shaping the handle. So we're getting pretty close. I'm getting really excited about it. It's looking good so far. We're really excited to be able to have a nice knife I could be using. So